We are looking at 1 Samuel chapter 25. But today we're going to talk about the key to knowing who someone really is. The key to knowing their true character. And the big idea this morning is that what we consistently do reveals who we really are. I'm going to say that one again because this is the big idea I want you to walk away with. What we consistently do reveals who we really are. You see, God calls us to live as people who have integrity. He calls us to be people who act with wisdom. And he wants us to be people who align our actions with the character we claim to have. Now, have you ever met anybody whose claim of character, or what they say they believe and what they say they are, doesn't match up with their actual behavior? What do we call someone whose words and behavior don't match up? Was that? We call him a hypocrite. Absolutely. And God, again and again in the Bible, tells us that he does not want us to be hypocrites. This idea of mismatched alignment between our beliefs and our behavior, that is not God's character. And because it's not God's character, it's not supposed to be our character. He calls us to be people of integrity. And integrity is making sure that what we say and what we do match up, even when nobody is watching. Because our actions speak louder than words. You can tell somebody, hey, this is who I am, this is who I am, this is what I believe, but your behavior will rat you out. You want to know who someone really is? Look at how they behave. More than titles, more than words, more than the roles we have, actions reveal character. Jesus' actions showed compassion, care, and sacrifice. He didn't have to say it because his behavior showed it. And so for us, the challenge becomes very personal, and we have to ask, do my actions match the character I claim to have? So 1 Samuel chapter 25. Then David rose and went down to the wilderness of Paran. And there was a man in Maon whose business was in Carmel. The man was very rich. He had 3,000 sheep and 1,000 goats, and he was shearing his sheep in Carmel. Now the name of the man was Nabal, and the name of his wife, Abigail. The woman, that's Abigail, was discerning and beautiful, but the man was harsh and badly behaved. Now, funny enough, his name, Nabal, literally means fool. So when the writer here in 1 Samuel tells us that he was harsh and badly behaved, they're telling us he was literally a fool. He lived up to his name. He was harsh and badly behaved. He was a Calebite. David heard in the wilderness that Nabal was shearing his sheep. So David sent 10 young men, and David said to the young men, "Go up to Carmel and go to Nabal and greet him in my name. And thus you shall greet him, 'Peace be to you, and peace be to your house, and peace be to all that you have. I hear that you have shearers. Now your shepherds have been with us, and we did them no harm, and they missed nothing all the time they were in Carmel. Ask your young men, and they will tell you. Therefore let my young men find favor in your eyes, for we come on a feast day. Please give whatever you have at hand to your servants and to your son David.' When David's young men came, they said all this to Nabal in the name of David, and then they waited." So let's back up a second. David is here in the sheep shearing country, and he hears that Nabal is there. And he remembers that a little while earlier, Nabal's men, because he had a large household, Nabal's men had been living among David and David's guys. And David took care of them, looked out for them, made sure that they didn't lose anything, nothing was stolen, they weren't mistreated. So David is trying to remind Nabal, your guys had been with us and we took care of them, but now we're here on your turf and I'm asking for you to pay back the favor. It kind of makes sense, right? If you take care of someone, you would kind of expect that when you go to their place, they would return the favor and take care of you. It's just simple being a nice guy. You scratch my back, I scratch yours, we look out for each other. So this is why David has sent his guys to Nabal. We did you a favor, we need one in return. And he's not even asking for a lot. He says, hey, whatever you have on hand. I'm not asking you to go out of your way, just kind of look out for us with whatever you have. And Nabal shows that he lives up to his name. He is a fool. Verse 10, Nabal answered David's servants, who is David? Who is the son of Jesse? There are many servants these days who are breaking away from their masters. Shall I take my bread and my water and my meat that I have killed from my shearers and give it to men who come from I do not know where? So David's young men turned away, came back, and told him all of this. And David said to his men, every man strap on a sword. And every man of them strapped on his sword. David also strapped on his sword. About 400 men went up after David, while 200 remained with the baggage. All right, here we go. David has said, I've taken care of you. I'm asking for you to do this in return. And Nabal is rude. Now, he is wealthy, he is powerful, but he is selfish, and he is a jerk. And his actions match up to his name. He is a fool. He refuses David's request for help. And he not only refuses the request, but he insults David. When he says, who is this? He knows who David is. But he is refusing to acknowledge David's place. Now, people know that David is on the rise, and David will take over one day as the leader of Israel. People have seen this coming. The prophet had anointed David a long time earlier. So people knew who David was. They knew he was a leader on the rise, but Nabal insults David, prioritizing his own pride and his own power over kindness. And then we see David's response. David knows he's insulted and tells his guys, hey, strap up. We're going to throw down. I mean, he just screams out, grab your swords. And they all strap on their swords to get geared up for a fight. So we're looking at character revealed by actions. Nabal is a fool who insults. He is a jerk. David is a hothead. He had an opportunity to play things cooler, but when he is insulted, he's ready to, let his hands do the talking or his sword do the talking. And in the middle of all this, we meet Abigail. Verse 14, one of the young men told Abigail, Nabal's wife, look, David sent messengers out of the wilderness to greet our master, and he railed at them. Yet the men were very good to us, and we suffered no harm, and we did not miss anything when we were in the fields, as long as we went with them. They were a wall to us both by night and by day. All the while we were with them keeping the sheep. Now therefore know this and consider what you should do, for harm is determined against our master and against all his house, and he is such a worthless fool that one cannot speak to him. Then Abigail made haste and took 200 loaves and 2 skins of wine and 5 sheep already prepared and 5 seahs of parched grain and 100 clusters of raisins and 200 cakes of figs, and laid them on donkeys. And she said to her young men, go on before me. Look, I am coming after you. But she did not tell her husband, Nabal. And as she rode on the donkey and came down under cover of the mountain, look, David and his men came down toward her, and she met them. Now David had said, surely in vain have I guarded all that this fellow has in the wilderness, so that nothing was missed of all that belonged to him, and he has returned me evil for good. God, do so to the enemies of David, and more also, if by morning I leave so much as one male of all who belong to him. David's out for blood. He is so ticked off. He's saying, I'm going to go in and I'm just going to let the blood flow. So we've seen the character revealed by actions. Nabal's character, he's showing he's a fool. David's character, he's showing he's a hothead. Abigail's character, She is showing herself to be wise, courageous, and selfless, because now she is bringing all of this food to David and his men. When Abigail saw David, she hurried, got down from her donkey, fell before David on her face, and bowed to the ground. She fell at his feet and said, "On me alone, my lord, be the guilt. Please let your servant speak in your ears and hear the words of your servant. Let not my lord regard this worthless fellow Nabal." This is her husband she's talking about. She calls him a worthless idiot. "Nabal is his name, and folly is with him. But I, your servant, did not see the young men of my lord whom you sent. Now then, my lord, as the Lord lives and as your soul lives, because the Lord has restrained you from blood guilt and saving with your own hand, now then let your enemies and those who seek to do evil to my lord be as Nabal." So she has risked her own safety. She has gone to David. She's like, "Hey, I brought you guys food, fruit, cakes, meat. My husband's an idiot, and he should not have been like this. And I have been able to come and grab you before you did something stupid in return. So let's just all take a breath, take a step back. Let me treat you the way that you should have been treated." Our character is revealed by our actions. Nabal is an idiot. David, the hothead, but Abigail, she is the one who is wise and discerning. You look at us in our lives, truly, our behavior reflects who we really are. If we say we value time with family, but we always blow off our family and want to do other stuff, do we really value family? If we say we really value the idea of being thrifty and saving, but we're blowing every paycheck on this and that and the other, do we really value that? Our actions will reveal who we really are. A company that says they believe in integrity, but they cut corners for a quick buck, their actions don't show what they say they believe. Or how about a church that says they love its community, but doesn't do anything to serve the community? We've got to take a hard, honest look in the mirror and ask ourselves, do my daily choices reflect the character that I say I have? Is my behavior matching up with who I want to be? And if we honestly look and we say, no, my behavior doesn't match what I say, then we've either got to change what we say or change our behavior so that we can come into alignment and be people of integrity. The second thing that I want you guys to get away from this, the first was that our behavior shows our real character. The second thing is people of integrity choose wisdom over impulse. Now, David was the one who responded impulsively, and Abigail goes and demonstrates integrity and grace under pressure. She takes responsibility for her husband's insult. She's not the one who insulted David, but when she goes to him, she's like, "Hey, let me take this on me. I'm so sorry that you were treated this way." See, she's got grace under pressure, and she chooses wisdom over impulse. And because of her wisdom, David is able to back down. He listens to her, and then he blesses her because she prevented him from sinning and spilling blood. Because of her wisdom and her integrity, she prevented someone else from doing something he should not have done. You see, integrity for us is seen when we act consistently with God's values, even if it costs us. She didn't have to rush out and take care of her husband's insult. She could have just let it ride and say, "My husband's an idiot, what am I going to do?" But she chose to act with wisdom and integrity over impulse. And we've got to ask ourselves, are we willing to be people of wisdom and integrity, even if acting on impulse would fix things faster? Sometimes we think, it's just a little lie. Something happens and we respond without even thinking, that impulsive, because we want to protect ourselves. We don't want to be embarrassed. We don't want to get in trouble. And we've got to get ourselves in check and say, whoa, am I choosing an easy fix or am I choosing to be a person of integrity? Abigail teaches us that integrity means choosing wisdom over impulse. Impulse will satisfy us for a moment, but wisdom shapes your character for a lifetime. And the final thing I really want you guys to understand is that avoiding hypocrisy means finally bringing into alignment all of our actions and all of our values. Ultimately, in the story, if you read through the end of the chapter, Nabal dies. He croaks, kicks the big one. He dies an idiot. And so Abigail, his widow, is left all alone. But because she has been a person of integrity, because in her integrity, she stopped David from doing something stupid, he said, you know what? I want to bring you into my house. And so he took the widow into his family and cared for her and looked out for her. And integrity isn't about perfection. It's about consistency between our belief and our behavior. We can say, I trust God, but are we always worrying and trying to manipulate situations? If we really trust God, when are we willing to back off and say, God has got this. I don't have to force it? Do we claim that we value relationships, but we avoid having hard conversations? Do we tell people that we care about treating people right, but then behind closed doors, we're gossipy and tearing people down? If we say that we love God and we love others, do our actions prove it? We must be avoiding hypocrisy so that our actions align with our values. Not like Nabal the fool, not like David the hothead, but like Abigail. She is the hero of this story. When everybody else was flying off at the handle, she's the one who said, hey, let's exercise some wisdom. And let's be the people that we claim to be. This morning, I want you guys to take away 3 things from Abigail's story. The first, your actions reveal your heart. In all of life, not just in areas of faith, but even on the job. Your actions reveal your heart. You look at leadership in your commands, and throughout your career, you will find people who are fantastic leaders, and you'll find people who are just garbage, toxic leaders. You want to know where their heart is, look at their behavior. Our actions reveal our hearts. The second takeaway from Abigail's story is that integrity requires wisdom over impulse. And the last piece is that hypocrisy destroys our credibility. If you are not aligned, your behavior and your beliefs, then it's going to destroy any credibility you have to people around you. I had a senior enlisted leader when I first came into the military would always tell us, chaps, no matter what you think, you're always seen, you're always observed. So act accordingly. Because we never know who is watching us. Wherever we go, we may think that we're alone. We may think nobody sees us, but somebody is always going to be watching us. So we have to ask, is my day-to-day behavior aligning with what I say, or am I living a life of hypocrisy? My challenge to you guys this week is to identify an area of your life where your actions don't necessarily match up to the character you want to have. Now, this is some deep soul-searching questions where you got to ask, what kind of character do I want to have? What kind of man do I want to be? What kind of woman do I want to be? Does my behavior match that? And if it doesn't, where do I need to get into alignment? And then ask God to give you the wisdom, like Abigail, to live consistently this week so that what you say you believe and do matches with what you actually do. We come into alignment in all of our life, living as people of integrity. And that's my challenge to you guys today.